So during 1 year on Google Maps or Google Earth, you can see a chunk of ice that's vaguely shaped like a ship that's sitting in Antarctica. That's the entire video. Unlike a couple of YouTube channels, and specifically a particular one I'm going to be doing a meme and joke about here, I show you the actual real coordinates to find it. So you can just click a link and, I mean, okay, Mr. BBBRBB666, whatever your channel name is, there's a button called share, and it gives you a non-ambiguous set of numbers and stuff. Why didn't you do that? So he says you can look at the screen and you can zoom in on it and change resolution and type it in and find exactly what I showed you. And then he dead ass gives you the wrong coordinates. They're off by a pretty significant amount. There's no need for that. So I'm being less likely to deflect you or lie to you. I'm being less discreditable or edible. Anyway, this is an example of an ice sheet section breaking up, and it's something floating in among the pack ice. You can look around a really short distance and see holes in it or maybe shadows. These do look that are floating on the water. And a pretty simple test here. We can zoom out as much as we need to. Let's just do it until this doesn't crash. You can see really big sections here, but let's do that. Now that looks like a mass there, but when we zoom out, okay, is that accurate? Well, it's shifted over a bit, right? Yeah, it is. Okay, so it's not really accurate, so we can't really be mad at Mr. Burr, right? But anyway, it's floating in the water. It's a chunk that's fallen off in the water, and assuming this is the absolute fixed location for something in the ocean, if it floats, that's kind of silly. Next, the presumption here is it's a ship that's fallen over on its side and is floating in the Antarctic. There's probably lots of ships in the Antarctic and Arctic. Now let's get on to the conspiracy theory. You know this was going to be some conspiracy theory posting. And the funny thing is, it's just somebody saying, I'm not saying it's aliens. I'm just going to post this because it includes keywords. So here we go with this stuff that was said, not by Mr. BBBBBBB, you know, the Earth Changes Monitor, but his comment section of fools or friends. Google Earth Watchman, Mr. MBB666. 400-foot long, 200-foot tall Antarctic ice ship coordinates. Can we stop using Antarctic and Arctic and just say North and South Pole? Because people get these confused a lot and then bring up Admiral Byrd and then refuse to look up shit. Anyway, I corrected these coordinates by putting them up there, because those are the actual coordinates you can look up to find it. It may not be the real coordinates for the thing because the image is probably a year old or more, but anyway, his fanboys conspiracy theories listing included significantly, and noted by some newspapers, ships built underground to shelter and save the world's elite and rich and powerful in the event of a global disaster, and also covering up knowledge of ETs because reasons. Then they bring up Admiral Byrd, who went to the North Pole in a flight in 1926, did a transatlantic flight in 1927, 1928, visited the South Pole first time, second Antarctic expedition 1934, 1939, another expedition, and the 1946 North Polar Operation High Jump, not in the same year or location as the claim of something weird happening in the South Pole. 2 years later, the U.S. Navy produced their documentary about Operation High Jump, which was at the North Pole, calling it The Secret Land, because totally not propaganda or sensationalism. 1954, in an interview, he claimed the South Pole would become the most important place in the world for science. So that must be a code word for Illuminati, reptilian shapeshifter, your mom. 1955, a year later, Operation Deep Freeze was set up to actually establish a set of bases at the South Pole itself, McMurdo Sound, and the Bay of Whales. 1957, at his home in Boston, at the age of 68, he died way too young, in my opinion, in his sleep of a heart ailment. He was buried in Arlington National Cemetery, but just right after he died, because the other person who did this knew that he couldn't do anything about it. Yes, somebody kicking a man while he's dead. A transcript of a supposed encounter between Admiral Byrd and hollow Earth Nazi space aliens at the North and then later the South Pole was lazily ripped off from a movie from 1937 called The Lost Horizon. And somehow someone brought up Antarcticus. Let me repeat, if you're not aware of it. It was a fiction done in the 1930s, probably inspired by Admiral Byrd, because that was right after the second Antarctic expedition, and it was common understanding that the South Pole wasn't an unreachable location. And I want you to realize how far we've come, because you can, dead ass, do a weekend adventure at the South Pole if you have enough money now. Now let me repeat that, all you flat earthers and people who lie about history all the fucking time and even place him at the North Pole when he wasn't and the South Pole when he wasn't, just so you can be a little snit on the internet. You can go to the South Pole and explore it. You can go on a trip to literally Mount Everest. You can actually do this. You can get someone to guide you up there. No knowledge necessary. You have a high likelihood of dying, but you can go do it. There are lots of corpses up there of people who found out that, yes, an ordinary person can reach the summit. Getting down might be difficult. But in the case of the South Pole, unless really, really bad shit happens, which it does really, not very often, but it can, you too can go to the South Pole. It's the current year, all right? It's the year 2020. The first North Pole air flight was in 1926. So a little less than 100 years ago, I'm sorry, a little less than 100 years ago was the first time anybody flew to the North Pole, didn't land. And even that's in dispute, but there's no disputing him reaching the South Pole in 1928, which really means that was his first on-the-ground hardcore mission, I guess. Or was it? No, there isn't any deep underground bases at the South Pole that he discovered when he was really at the North Pole. Operation High Jump was at the North Pole. Saying Arctic and Antarctic confuses shit. Well, we have to use the right wording. No, it's the North or South Pole. They're literally polar opposites of each other, but conspiracy theorists love using the word Arctic and Antarctic because then they can act like they just got a mistake with two letters because Arctic and Antarctic are Antarctic. It's three letters. There's an ant there. Okay? Yeah. It's the North and South Pole. Admiral Byrd did not discover a hole into the center of the Earth at the South Pole and then died by being, killed for a conspiracy thingy when he was 68. Immediately after he died, someone posted a fake story and sold it. Okay? It's fiction. There are no hollow Earth Nazi space aliens riding dinosaurs. And some YouTube channels do not give you the correct addressing. Anyway, it's about 414 feet long, about 200 feet across, and it's at the South Pole, and you too can just find it on a map. And also, yes, you could get in an airplane and go visit the area, or you could claim there's a giant cover-up, or you could get a life. Yes, I give you the coordinates of something, and Mr. BBBBB literally finds a way not to post them when it's a fucking button in the viewer. Just saying. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Good luck with that.